we're making an apple crumble. I figured this would be so perfect because one, it's fall, it's September, apple orchards are open now, they're ready for picking. And if you guys don't have an apple orchard, I have no idea if I have one near me. I've never been, but I would love to go. But if you guys have apples at your grocery store that are, okay, it sounds bad to say going bad, but if they're like on their last leg, they're perfect for baking. Don't spend $5, $6 on a bag of apples when you can spend $2-ish on a bag of apples that's like not its prettiest, has a couple of dents, because we're gonna peel them, we're gonna bake them. They're gonna become soft, nice, sweet mush anyway, so don't spend a lot of money. And these are simple pantry ingredients. Most baking is, but this is basic, easy, super easy. So in the beginning of summer, if you guys follow me on Instagram, I'll link it here, you guys will see that I made a peach cobbler and you guys were obsessed. And I'm obsessed. So good, super sweet, but I use frozen peaches. So if you guys have apples that are, do they sell frozen apples? Okay, anyway, I'm using fresh apples, so use fresh apples. I don't know if they sell canned or whatnot, but just use fresh apples. Okay, on to the recipe. It's so funny because I always try to give you guys alternatives and be like, you guys can use this one, you can use that one. It doesn't have to be this brand, it could be another brand. But sometimes I'm like, have I ever seen canned apples? Have I ever seen frozen apples? I don't think I have. I'm gonna start first with the crumble part of this because the butter has to cool a little bit. So while we peel our apples and do all of that, we're gonna let this get nice and melty. I have 1 stick plus 2 tablespoons of butter. So a stick is 8 tablespoons plus 2 tablespoons, 10 tablespoons. If you only have a stick, use a stick. We're gonna throw this in the microwave for, okay, my microwave is pure garbage. So this is probably gonna take twice as long than it would in your microwave. But we're gonna start with 45 to 50 seconds. Okay, hi. You guys are seeing me with my glasses. I don't think I've ever filmed a video with my glasses on because you guys can see the ring light. But I tell you, when I am squinting really hard, it's because I can't see because I don't have my glasses on. And there goes my microwave. Anyway, I was looking for a bowl to put my apples and the crumble and the mix in. Look at what I just found. Do you guys see this? It has apples on it. Okay, but I was reading the bottom of it and it says it can go in the dishwasher, in the oven, and the microwave. If I put this in the microwave, if I put this in the oven and my house burns down, you guys know it was all because of this. I've never baked in this, but I'm gonna trust it. I'm going to trust it. But, all right, now back to the video. For the crumble topping, we're gonna add a cup plus a half a cup of flour, 1.5 teaspoons of some baking powder. Okay, I need bowls that do not make this little church bell sound. 1.5. Some salt. And 3/4 cup of some white sugar. If your apples are super ripe and sweet, then you can limit the amount of sugar. Okay, maybe half a cup. Then we can give it a nice little mix, make sure everything is incorporated, especially since there is some baking powder in there. Okay, nice and good. Then we can add our melted butter, which is slightly cool. Make sure get all of that in there. Now we can start mixing. It's supposed to be really crumbly and like shortbread cookie dough, if that makes sense. Okay, now we can move on from a whisk. Okay, I'm gonna have to get another tool for this. All right, now we have a spatula. It's gonna be wet and crumbly, which is exactly what you want. It's almost like having muffin mix on top of your apple crumble. I like a mixture of big and small pieces in there, so I'm gonna leave it the way it is, and then when you put it on, you can change the little shapes and sizes as well. Okay, now we're gonna let this cool on the side, and then we can work on the apple part. So for the apples for this, I just have regular Red Delicious apples. Whenever you look up a recipe that says anything having to do with any type of apple baking, they say, use a special apple. Don't go out and buy special apples. Use what you have. If you have regular Red Delicious, Macintosh, Gala, Gucci apples, use what you have. So now we are going to peel these apples, and I will probably be here for like 4 years peeling all these apples. Okay, but on a serious note, we're just gonna sit here and peel the apples. I'm like begging my husband to get me this power drill because I saw a trick online that you can try it. So if we end up getting it to work successfully, I'll show you guys that because I guarantee it's gonna be hilarious. But save your little peels. If you save them and fry them and then throw them in some cinnamon and sugar, it's so incredibly good. If you guys like apple chips or little apple crisps, that's perfect. Okay, now I'm gonna fast forward over this because nobody wants to watch this. Okay guys, we got this. Go. No, the apple's spinning. No, hold on. Go. It's a little bit better, but dang it. 17 years later, I am now done peeling these apples. So as you guys see, I left the little stem just to give you a little extra something to hold on to. If you don't have yours on, that's perfectly fine. Okay, so from the top, in half, place it down. Whenever you're chopping anything, you always want a flat surface so that it doesn't roll on you. Now, the center of the apple is super tough, so we're just not gonna use that. So we chopped off one cheek of the apple. We're gonna flip it over, do the same thing, and just leave out the middle. Now these, I'm gonna save these because I'm gonna show you guys something else in another video coming very soon that you can make with those. So store those to the side. And there's a little bit of skin still left on, and that's perfectly fine because this is not gonna do anything. And they're a little brown, but that happens when it hits the air, especially this one that took a little bit longer. But it's okay, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. Use what you have. Now we're gonna chop these in small pieces, like bite-sized pieces. So 1/2 inch. We finished chopping these. Now we're just gonna add 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, which is equivalent usually to 1/2 of a lemon, and give that a little mix. If you were to put this on before, it would have stopped the browning of the apples, but your girl does not care because it's gonna taste exactly the same. Give that a little mix. Now we can move on to the sugars. We're gonna add 1/4 of a cup of some granulated white sugar. 1/4 of a cup of brown sugar. Don't worry about packing it in. Some cinnamon. Makes it taste like an apple pie. And some nutmeg. I'm not the biggest fan of nutmeg, so just the tiniest bit goes a long way with nutmeg. A hint of some salt. Salt brings out the sweetness that's already naturally in the apple and from the sugar. So I'm telling you, it is not gonna be salty. It makes it even better. Lastly, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. If you don't have cornstarch, you can add a little bit of flour, but I just think cornstarch works so much better. We can go in mixy mixy. Now this is gonna make juice on the bottom. So when you're making like an apple pie, you just don't want extra juice because that leads to a soggy bottom, and nobody wants a soggy bottom. But with this cobbler, since there's no crust on the bottom, no filling on the bottom, no nothing, this works. It smells so good, and it's not even baked yet. I feel like it's Thanksgiving right now. Oh my goodness. You guys have to make this. Even if you just make a smaller portion than this, I only use 6 apples, so if you guys use 2 for a small portion, this is perfect. It smells so good. So we're gonna let this sit for 5 to 10 minutes. The longer the better, honestly, but who wants to wait? It smells so good. Okay, so 5 minutes, and while it is going, we can go ahead and preheat our oven. It's been 10 minutes now. You guys can see there's a lot of juice on the bottom. If you wanted to take this off, you totally can. I'm just gonna give it an even better mix. Okay, there we go. And since the cornstarch is in here, once that cornstarch gets heated from the oven, it's gonna thicken up and it's gonna make almost a nice caramelliness. Oh, it's gonna be so good. Okay, so since apples are a little more tough than, let's say, like a peach or a strawberry, I'm gonna give this a quick bake by itself without the crumble. The crumble topping is for the top, so I'm gonna flatten it out. We're gonna put this on a baking sheet and we're gonna throw it in the oven for 10 minutes. Okay, like I said, it's not gonna boil over, it's not gonna just explode all over my oven, but just in case, and it makes it a little bit easier to grip when it's on like a nice sheet tray like this. So 10 minutes at 350. Guys, pray right now for me that this that this bowl does not crack or blow up. 10 minutes have passed and it has not thickened up the way I want it to. So we're gonna let it cook for 10 to 12 more minutes. Now that it is out, give it another mix. Get it nice and juicy. It smells exactly like fall. Ah, it smells so good. Okay, so I'm just gonna give the apples a little press. Okay, they're still nice and crisp, but soft enough, which is perfect. I don't want them to be mush, but I also don't want them to be rock hard. Now, we can take our crumble that we made and, well, crumble it over. So it's up to you whether you want big chunks or you want small chunks. I'm so excited. This is perfect. This is exactly what you want. I love a ton of crumble. Like when it is equally crumbly and apple pie on the bottom. Whoo, okay, that is exactly what you want. Now we're gonna throw it in there. Why do I keep touching this? It's hot. Okay, we're gonna throw this in there for 5 to 6 minutes. It's in there. I totally meant to say 10 minutes, not 5 to 6. Our crumble is out of the oven looking so beautiful. Now, it's not gonna change color, so do not worry about that. The crumble topping stays nice and pale, almost like a shortbread, and that's exactly how it falls apart. But do you see this gooiness? That's from leaving all of the juice in there. Now, you wanna let it cool, obviously because it's like blisteringly hot, but you want to let it cool for about 20 to 30 minutes. The longer the better on this because it's going to sit and like just firm up. It is so amazing. I'll show you guys that. It has been an hour. I cannot wait to eat this. Do you guys hear that? It is so nice and crunchy. My house smells like fall. Look at that. You have all of these super soft apples on the bottom. And look at this, all of this like caramelly sauce. Yep. Look at that. It's like just sticky caramel. Look at that. Beautiful. You guys have to make this.